2021 meeting of the Sports Authority to order. Thank each of you for taking the time to be on this call today. It is our opinion that the items on today's agenda constitute essential business of this body, and that meeting electronically is necessary to protect the health, safety, and welfare of citizens in light of the COVID-19 outbreak. Are there any objections? I'll also note that today's meeting is being live streamed by Metro ITS on Metro Network 1. At this time, I'll ask the board members to please let us know that they are here. We're going to begin our roll call with Director Atkins.
Present.
Thank you. Director Bam?
Here.
Director Deering?
Here.
Director Duncan?
Here.
Director Farner?
Here.
Director Gill?
Here.
Director Glassmeyer?
Here.
Vice Chair Harrison?
Here.
Director Hogan? Director Hogan? Director McGee? Director McGee? Director Page? Secretary Nguyen?
Here.
I'll just read as Director Hogan.
Director Hogan will not be at the meeting today.
Director McGee.
And I see Director Page is on. She's on mute, but she is on.
Director Page.
I'm here.
Good morning. Thank you. Okay, thank you, Monica. The first item on the agenda is consideration of the minutes from the March 11th, 2021 meeting. And on Friday, you should have received the SharePoint link, which included minutes from the March meeting. Are there any questions or comments?
Move for approval.
Okay, we have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All of those in favor, by roll call. Director Atkins?
Yes.
Director Bam?
Aye.
Director Deering?
Aye.
Director Duncan?
Aye.
Director Farner?
Aye.
Director Gill?
Yes.
Director Glassmeyer?
Yes.
Vice Chair Harrison?
Here.
Director Page? Director Page?
Approve.
Director McGee? Secretary Nguyen?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Next, we'll have our executive director's report. So at this time, Monica will give the executive director's report.
Good morning, everyone. You can see the agenda on the screen in front of you. I would like to thank everyone who attended the Finance Committee meeting. It's a hardworking committee, and it meets almost every month right now. And we usually have a strong showing from board members who aren't on the committee. And I think it's just important to acknowledge that and to say thank you for your engagement and your desire to understand the items coming before the authority more deeply. So we appreciate everyone's time. Following my report, we have several action items coming to the board as recommendations from the Finance Committee. These include a request from Metro Parks for a conservation greenway easement at First Horizon Park, a resolution approving a second amendment to the Kimley Horn Agreement, and 3 resolutions approving the issue of revenue refunding bonds for Nissan Stadium, Bridgestone Arena, and First Horizon Park. Are there any questions about the agenda? If not, I have just a couple. If not, I have just a couple of follow-ups. I hear the echo, so if you're not on mute and you can mute yourself, that would probably be helpful. After the March meeting, our last meeting, during the MLS Stadium update, the board asked staff to engage Metro Purchasing and the BAO office in conversations around some of Director Gill's questions regarding qualification, certification of women-owned and minority business enterprises. And so we were able to follow up with a meeting with Dr. Gill and Metro Purchasing Agent Michelle Lane and several members of her team for a conversation that it was very informative for me. And I believe that the questions have been answered to Director Gill's satisfaction. And I hope that's the case, Director Gill.
That is, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No. Okay. You are correct in saying that the comments that were received from all of the participants satisfied my concern that everything is being done legally, and I have no additional questions about what's happening with the participation of the various MBDE firm, MW, what is it, MWBD, whatever it is, whatever the acronym is. I'm satisfied with that. I just think this is something that needs to take place or needs to be addressed at another level. That's all. So I'm good with that.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Also following up on a question from Director Bim, she asked for additional information on the board's authority to approve raises for staff above what Metro has, I guess, articulated in its budget. And so Melissa Wells, our finance manager, reached out to Human Resources. The response from them is that the authority is able to approve raises for the executive director since the board reviews and sets her pay. The other employees would follow Metro Civil Service open range process for pay improvements. And then finally, we are continuing to work with Metro Procurement on the RFP for women's professional consulting services for phase 2 of our effort. A buyer has been assigned to us and he has reached out, and we hope to connect in the next week or so to review the solicitation. So we are getting some movement there, and that's exciting. Are there any questions? If not, that ends my report.
Thank you, Monica. And I too concur with Monica. So much of the heavy lifting of this body is done by the Finance Committee, at the Finance Committee level. So we do want to extend a great appreciation for that committee and for those of you on the board who take the time to participate and to learn about the finances of the Sports Authority. So this time, we will have the Finance Committee report by Chair John Glassmeyer. As Monica said, the committee met this morning, and there were a number of items that they addressed on their agenda. So with that, I'll turn it over to you, John.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, we met at 9 a.m. We had the following items. So the first was a request for a grant of easement for the Conservation Greenway, pardon me, at First Horizon Park. The easement and subsequent partial realignment will remedy the frequent greenway closures on event days. Cindy Harrison, the Assistant Director of Metro Parks, presented the request and can answer any questions. And the committee did vote to recommend approval. So if there's any questions from the board.
Yeah, this is Don Deering. Did I understand correctly during the Finance Committee meeting that the folks at, I think Doug Scopel mentioned, this would not interfere with any operation at the Tennessee Horizon Ballpark for the Sounds? Is that correct?
Good morning. This is Doug Scopel, Vice President Operations for the Sounds. That is correct. What this would do is it would actually make the greenway usable all the time. Right now, we close the greenway when we have events at the ballpark, and so this would eliminate that closure. But it would not affect our business at all. We would be able to operate as normal.
Thank you.
Any other questions? So the committee does recommend approval.
Okay, John, is that a motion?
Sorry, yes. So the motion is approval of a resolution approving an agreement for grant of easement for the Conservation Greenway.
Okay, great. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. Any discussion? Any additional questions, comments? If not, we will vote. All in favor by roll call. Director Atkins?
Aye.
Director Bim?
Aye.
Director Deering?
Aye.
Director Duncan?
Aye.
Director Farner?
Aye.
Director Gill?
Yes.
Thank you. Director Glassmeyer?
Yes.
Vice Chair Harris?
Aye.
I think that was an aye. Director,
Aye,
thank you.
yes.
Okay.
Aye.
Director Page?
Aye.
And Secretary Wynn?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. The motion passes. So continue with your report, Chairman Glassmeyer.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. The second item, the committee heard a request to amend the authority's agreement with Kimmel Horn. This is the second time we're amending this for construction and engineering inspection services, or CIE, as it's referred to in all the documentation. The service is standard for commercial projects and was anticipated in the original infrastructure budget, so no additional cost, and the funding is available. We have project manager Jim Pashofsky available for any questions. And the committee did vote to recommend approval. Any questions from the board?
Madam Chair, I have, this is Melvin Gill, I'm sorry. I have a couple of questions with reference to this amendment. It's showing that the original contract amount was $1.5 million. And my question there is, was that for, well, I think I read in there also that construction administration services were withheld at that time, were not part of the proposal. Is that correct?
Mr. Gill, the original contract was only for design phase services.
But was there an amount allocated for construction administration service? That's what I think I just heard, that it was an amount that was allocated for construction administration services.
There was a small amount for certain construction administration services, but not for engineering and inspection services.
Can I please ask, just to be clear, if you would just state your name when you speak so that everyone will know who's answering. No
Jim
problem.
Pashofsky with CPF.
Thank you.
Okay, I am looking at some of the statements on the amendment here that indicates that, as an example, the number of RFIs that will be considered. If it goes beyond the 25 plus or minus RFIs, there's an additional fee.
This amount is set as a purchase order allowance to be billed against their hourly rates and unit rates. And the number of RFIs listed was just a placeholder that Kimley Horn provided, anticipating what they would assume at this point.
Okay, so if it goes beyond the 25, will be an additional fee for that?
Not necessarily. We're going to be managing the overall amount.
And the same with, there's another number that's put in there, plus or minus a 10. I'm trying to thumb through this now. 1 second, please. Amount 10 plus or minus minor design revision services through construction phase.
Yeah, that's just an estimated number of minor revisions. We're at 100% construction documents, so we wouldn't anticipate too many at this point.
Okay. In submitting a proposal for the services, did the design team and the construction management team anticipate the construction engineering inspection services and the amount that it would, the amount of time, man hours it would take for the various tasks in those services?
Yes, there was several months of coordination meetings and discussion with the contractor and the designer and the inspection firms. Yes.
How was the original design fee determined? Was it based on the estimated construction cost?
It was based on the concepts at the time. That's where the 1.5 million design fees came from. And then there was a concept, and yeah, that's what the original design fee was based on.
And it was a budget established based on those concepts, or that concept?
Correct, yes.
Could they not have determined what their construction administration fees would be at that time? I understand that you're saying that the construction, engineering, and inspection services are separate, but it seems to indicate that there will be time for the design team, additional time for the design team, and maybe I'm not saying that correctly. I read that the design team will be supporting, is it Reagan and
Reagan Smith, yes.
Reagan Smith. I want to say Reagan Smith and Murphy. That used to be the name, didn't it? It indicates in here that the design team will be supporting Reagan's Smith.
That's correct.
Should that not be the other way around?
Well, Reagan Smith is a sub-consultant to Kimley Horn.
Okay. Now, each member of the design team will have their respective construction administration services to perform, correct?
Correct.
I'm just wanting to know if there will be additional services here, and perhaps why these services could not have been anticipated from the beginning.
At this time, we don't anticipate additional on top of this. In the beginning, when we first solicited the design services, this was envisioned to be it was always allocated as a separate budget item for third party.
And that budget item was what?
For testing and inspections.
How much for testing?
1.1.
1.1 for testing and services?
Testing and inspection services, yes.
Okay. And the previous amendments for $399,400. That was,
That was for additional design services.
how is the design team and the construction management general contractor working together on this project?
Very well. Very well. We have weekly meetings, several meetings a week actually. And there's a lot of coordination also with the Messer Mortensen group on the stadium, since it's all interconnected. So there's a significant amount of coordination that's going on.
What have been some of the benefits of the design team and the construction management and general contractor team meetings? Have you been able to identify ways in which money could be saved, construction techniques that might benefit the project?
I would say the biggest benefit would be how things are being phased and fit in with the stadium construction, since it's all integrated. Certain milestones have to be met on the infrastructure related to the stadium. And yes, also there's been lots of discussion on value engineering as we've gone through. Right now they are putting out bid packages, bail lists for the construction. And so we're starting to see some of those come in, and we're reviewing those in detail as we get them. And currently, we're projecting the project to be on budget. Yes.
Okay. And I'm looking at participation in progress meetings and what have you. Is that? No, I don't need to ask that question. I was just interested in the fact that some of the tasks to be performed by Reagan Smith is attending progress meetings, being on site on a daily basis. How many personnel are you looking at being on site on a daily basis?
I'd have to look at their details. Someone from Kimley Horn or Reagan Smith is on. Maybe they could address that question specifically.
Hey, Jim, this is Chris Rhodes with Kimley Horn. I can attempt to answer that, and then we'll yield to Scott Neeson as well. Yeah. So for the construction engineering and inspection services, every time there's active construction on site, there will be a Reagan Smith construction inspector on site. And that's basically to track that the project is being built in accordance with the design plans and the details, to check for erosion prevention and sediment control measures are being put in place. And, there's some utility construction according to NES and Metro Water Services that's happening on site as well. So their job will be to do that. And then there's also a bridge component. So there will be at least one construction inspector on site every time there is active construction on site.
And the support that Reagan Smith will get from the design team members in their respective disciplines. How I'm still looking at the design team being supported by Reagan Smith, and Reagan Smith not supporting the design team. But anyway, okay, there's just a lot to look at here, and I had questions about shop drawing review. Why should the design team not look at shop drawings?
Yes, sir. So Reagan Smith, their role is to do on-site construction engineering inspection. Kimley Horn and our subconsultants that led the design effort, we will lead the shop drawing submittal review. If there are minor design revisions, obviously the designer will lead those. So it'd be coordination between the contractor, Reagan Smith, with Reagan Smith being on site every day. They will know if there's an item. In other words, if the contractor submits something for shop drawing submittal review, it'll be passed through Reagan Smith, and then the design team would address that.
Okay. All right. Okay. All righty. I have no further questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Gill, and thank you for addressing those questions, Jim. We appreciate the information. I think that was a very interesting dialogue. So I know that I learned a lot about the roles. So with that, let's move into a motion, and then we'll see if there's further discussion. So there's a recommendation from the Finance Committee, and that is in the form of a motion. Chairman Glassmeyer?
Yes, consideration of approval of a resolution approving a second amendment to the agreement with Kimmel Horn for design services for infrastructure improvements related to the Nashville Major League Soccer Stadium project in the Nashville Fairgrounds. Yes, that is our motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you. Now, any further discussions or additional questions?
Director Bender, this is Glenn Farner. I have a couple questions.
Okay, please.
My question would be, one, if this service was anticipated and budgeted for, I guess not so much why we didn't procure it as such as to if why are we amending it rather than procure it, and what is our obligation to procure it rather than just amend the current contract?
The primary, yeah,
That might be a question for our council.
Hey, Jim, this is Chris. I can answer the question about Metro procurement. Again, this is Chris Rhodes with Kimley Horn. When Metro procurement advertised for these services, they advertised for planning, design, and construction engineering. So when we responded to Metro's RFQ all along, there was the thought that CEI services would be included. But you typically don't budget CEI services until you know how many bid packages and the length of construction, because it's a manpower it's a manpower exercise based upon schedule. So we would have never have budgeted in our initial contract what the cost for CEI services would have been back in May of 2019. But it certainly was part of the RFQ that Metro government put out.
I got you, and maybe I'm just going back to some additional discussion we had under the committee meeting when we said, well, the money was always budgeted for this service, and I guess I'm just asking from Metro or from Sports Authority's obligation. Are we okay just to amend this, or we are obligated to? I mean, is there some obligation we would have to procure it separately? I mean, is there? I mean, I get from your submittal standpoint, you had no idea. I'm just wondering.
This is Margaret Darby, and the original RFQ, is my understanding, had the request for these services, and Kimley Horn can speak about this, but I believe that they did put something in their proposal about these services. But I believe it was our understanding that we were going to use some other Metro contracts for this service at the same dollar figure that was budgeted, but that those contracts, those Metro contracts are no longer in existence. So we are now just amending under this current contract where this scope of work was originally intended in the RFQ.
Okay, and then how was that amount decided? Like, is that just?
The 1.1 million, that would be a question for Jim to answer. But the one thing that is important to note is that the 1.1 million was originally budgeted It comes out of the original $25 million bond issue that was issued several years ago, was approved several years ago to pay for all of this, infrastructure, including the soft cost and hard cost for the infrastructure. This does not increase that total expenditure.
Okay, and I guess that takes me back to my original question, which was, if we budgeted 1.1 million from the original, why we wouldn't have procured it as such, knowing that we could have, amended the amount. Let's say if it had come in at 1.2 million, or, you hear what I'm saying? Like, why would we just leave it out there and then subject to, well, if when we get to that point, we'll just deal with it then? That's my question. I'm not necessarily against it. I just want to make sure, we're doing things, how we're supposed to be doing. I mean, as somebody mentioned, both in this discussion and an earlier discussion, this is the second amendment as it relates to this vendor versus design. And, are we going to have further amendments? Are we anticipating anything else out there?
Yeah, this is Jim Paszewski. No, we don't anticipate further amendments. And to answer your first question, at the time the design services were procured, there was not a in-place construction schedule and phasing. That all comes after the design is done, and these services are based really on the construction schedule and the way the contractor's going to be actually building the improvements.
I hear what you're saying. My point is, we budgeted $1.1 million, and now the cost is actually $1.1 million. We were either really good at estimating, and if that was the case, then we should have procured it that way. Or there happens to be $1.1 million, and now there's only one vendor available to do that work, and the cost is $1.1 million. So ironically, it all shapes up to be $1.1 million, and we happen to have somebody, we can just easily do that. I'm not necessarily against it. I'm just saying that we expected it, and we budgeted $1.1 million. And my question is, if we're making those kind of changes, is there a dollar amount? Is there some obligation for us to procure it separately rather than just continuing to amend people who are already in place? That's my only question. Not again.
Yeah, the 1.1 million for this is a allowance amount that will be billed against with hourly and unit rates that are part of the contract. And we'll be monitoring this on a monthly basis. And there's been months and months of discussion regarding these services. Originally, it was higher than this, but we've come to agreements on exact scope, so we could come to agreement on a proper allowance to be billed against. So this is not a lump sum amount. This is an amount to be added to be billed against on a unit rate basis.
Any other questions?
And if that unit rate base, and I'm just proving my point here as I understand it, but if that unit rate basis exceeds $1.1 million, then we would need to come back and amend this.
But we're going to be managing it closely with the design team and the contractors, and it is our intent to work within this $1.1 million. We'll have that updates on this on a monthly basis.
Okay.
Madam Chair, Melvin Gill, I have another question, and it's following Kimberly Horn's Exhibit 1. There's a statement here that says, should construction extend into nights, weekends, or extend past the currently established construction schedule, additional budget would be needed for these tasks. why would there, if the time is extended for whatever reason, why would there be needed any additional task needed when they have already been determined what they will be, what the task will be?
Chris, can you address that, please?
Yeah, this is Chris Rhodes with Kinley Horn again. So CEI services for Reagan Smith being on site. So Metro government will be paying them on an hourly basis to observe and inspect construction. And that is budgeted based upon the number of months of the anticipated schedule and a typical work week. So let's assume that the contractor 8 months in is behind schedule, and that's just an assumption, and he asked to work on Saturdays and Sundays. So that amount of budget is not covered in this amount. However, let's assume that we only need 8 design revisions. So there would be additional budget there. So back to what Jim said, we will have to track it on a monthly basis, but if we get into nights and weekends, that's additional time to observe construction.
What happens if there is a delay in the schedule due to weather, and I don't want to bring any hard luck on this project, but a tornado coming through here doing damage that extends the project? Why would additional tasks be needed if delay is due to weather, again, as an example?
So if we have a delay due to a weather event or act of God, obviously the contractor wouldn't be out there constructing, nor would our CEI personnel be out there building to the job overseeing construction. So it would have a schedule delay, but it would not affect manpower budget per se.
Okay, I just want to be certain that the wording here is such that we're not caught up in a situation like that.
Understood.
No further questions. Thank you.
Thank you. And I do think it's important to thoroughly, go through these documents and to be very clear of what we are approving. So I appreciate the conversation. If there are no additional questions or comments, we have a motion and a second on the table. So I'm going to move forward with all of those in favor by roll call. Director Atkins?
Aye.
Director Bam?
Aye.
Director Deering?
Aye.
Director Duncan?
Aye.
Director Garner?
Aye.
Director Gill?
Yes.
Vice Chair Harrison?
Aye.
Director McGee? Director Page?
Aye.
Secretary Wynn?
Aye.
Okay, the motion passes. Again, thank you for that dialogue. So there are a couple more items on the Finance Committee. So Chairman Glassmeyer, back to you.
All right, thank you. The next 3 items are all related to refinancing of some of the bonds. Jeff Oldman, the Metro Bond Counsel, he took the committee through the documents related to the refinancing of the bonds. So the 2021A is for the Nissan Stadium, 2021B is for the Bridgestone Arena, and 2021C is for First Horizon Park. We're not issuing any additional debt. We're just refinancing the existing debt to take advantage of some lower interest rates. So Jeff Oldman and Michelle Bosch, with Metro Treasury, are on, and they can answer any questions from the board. Hearing none, I'm guessing So these will all need to be, all three were recommended for approval, and I guess we have to vote on each one, Madam Chair. So would you like me to read the first one?
Yes, let's take them one at a time.
Okay. The first one is consider approval of a resolution approving the authorization, issuance, and sale of not to exceed 35 million of federally taxable public facility revenue refunding bonds, East Bank Stadium Project, Series 2021A of the Sports Authority of the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County, approving a supplemental trust indenture relating to the bonds, pledging certain revenues of the authority to the payment of the bonds, approving a refunding escrow agreement, and authorizing the preparation and distribution of an official statement in connection with the sale of the bonds. The committee, that's the motion.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second, Don Deering, second.
Thank you, Director Dean. Okay, now any discussion about the bond refinance? Any discussion, any questions? If not, we will vote. All in favor? Director Atkins?
Aye.
Director Bim?
Aye.
Director Deering?
Aye.
Director Deering?
Aye.
Director Duncan?
Aye.
Director Farner?
Yes.
Director Gill?
Yes.
Vice Chair Harrison? Vice Chair Harrison?
Aye.
Director McGee? Director Page? Thank you.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. And Secretary Wynn?
Aye.
Secretary Wynn?
Aye.
And Director Glassmeyer made the motion, so the motion passes. Thank you for the vote, and we will move to the next resolution. Chairman Glassmeyer?
All right, the motion is to consider a resolution approving the authorization, issuance, and sale of not to exceed $10 million of federally taxable public facility revenue refunding bonds, Arena Project, Series 2021B of the Sports Authority of the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County, approving a supplemental trust indenture related to the bonds, pledging certain revenues of the authority to the payment of the bonds, approving a refunding escrow agreement, and authorizing the preparation and distribution of an official statement in connection with the sale of the bonds.
Okay, Chair Glassmeyer, that is a motion?
Yes.
Okay, so we have a motion
Second.
on the floor. Second, any discussion? All in favor by roll call, Director Atkins?
Aye.
Director Bim?
Aye.
Director Deering?
Aye.
Director Deering, thank you. Director Duncan?
Aye.
Director Farner?
Aye.
Director Gill?
Yes.
Vice Chair Harrison? Director McGee?
Aye.
Director Page?
Aye.
Secretary Wynn?
Aye.
Secretary Wynn?
Aye.
Thank you. The motion passes. Chairman Glassmeyer?
All right, the last item is this, a motion to consider a resolution approving the authorization, issuance, and sale of not to exceed $62 million of federally taxable public facility revenue refunding bonds, Ballpark Project, Series 2021C of the Sports Authority of Nashville and Davidson County, approving a supplemental trust indenture relating to the bonds, pledging certain revenues of the authority to the payment of the bonds, approving a refunding escrow agreement, and authorizing the preparation and distribution of an official statement in connection with the sale of the bonds. That is the motion.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Director Atkins?
Aye.
Director Bim?
Aye.
Director Deering?
Aye.
Director Duncan?
Aye.
Director Farner?
Aye.
Director Hill?
Yes.
Vice Chair Harrison?
Aye.
Director McGee? Director McGee? Director Page?
Aye.
Secretary Wynn?
Aye.
Thank you. The motion passes. Is there anything else to report from the Finance Committee?
Yes, the Finance Committee heard from Shannon Myers, who's the Titans' new Vice President of Finance. Shannon introduced herself and briefly reviewed the Titans' outstanding receivables, which are at approximately $23 million. She also reviewed some anticipated stadium projects, including magnometers and turnstiles. There was no action from the committee to take. That concludes the finance report.
Great. Thank you so much for that report. And as I said before, thanks to our Finance Committee for the work. We had a number of items to approve today, but well worth the time because the bond reissues allow us to financially save and is advantageous for us and the city of Nashville. So we thank you for the work.
Madam Chair.
At this time, yes.
Madam Chair.
Yeah.
Madam Chair, this is Don Deering. I was wondering if it would be possible for the soccer stadium and the cost of the original contract and the addendums, and if any change orders have been done, could we not get a report every month about kind of where we stand with where we started and where we're at now and what is projected down the road? You know, not meeting in person, and we've done a little here and a little there. It's been kind of hard to keep track with. So I wonder if it might be possible for us to get a chart, a very simple chart showing of those additional things that we have been tasked with and have okayed, addendums, change orders, and et cetera, as we move along with that project.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a reasonable request, and the person that can help us with that, Mary Cavara, who is about to give us an update on the stadium. I think that this is something that we probably could receive access to. Mary?
Yes, good morning, Madam Chair and board members.
Good morning.
With respect to Director Deering's request, I will tell you that we still are within our total estimated cost for the soccer stadium of $335 million. That total amount of the budget did include some contingency amounts. So to the extent that we've had change orders within the stadium, we've just been using parts of the contingency, but going forward, we will be happy to provide a report for you so that we can track that as we're going on. It's something that I do monitor very closely, so happy to do that. Today, I'll provide a brief update on the stadium construction progress and the team. Next slide, please. So 9 months into the construction phase, I'm pleased to report that stadium construction continues to move ahead as scheduled and with a strong safety record. This slide is a view looking toward downtown from the south end of the stadium. You could see the progress made on the steelwork, including the upper bowl rakers, which are now in place, as well as some of the precast in the upper bowl. The premium area is to the west. Next slide, please. From this slide, this overhead view, you could see the continuing work on the lower bowl with the majority of the concrete seating almost complete. You can also see the concourses and the progress on the steel erection. From this overhead view, you could see the width of the concourses, which show that they, should work quite well with our 30,000 seating capacity, that these are some of the widest in the league and should provide for a great flow of fans. And then on the next slide, please. These are some additional views of the steelwork, the lower bowl seating, and the south back of house areas, including locker rooms. This is where the locker rooms, the press area, and storage and other items will be located. Looking ahead, the canopy work is starting in mid-May through September, with a target of clearing the pitch in November and prepping for the natural grass field. As a reminder, our season opening match will be this Saturday, April 17th at Nissan Stadium against FC Cincinnati. Our team is very excited to get back on the pitch, and our fans are looking forward to continuing the rivalry. I will go ahead and pause here and pleased to answer any questions before turning the rest of the update over to Morton Messer for the DBE update. Thank you.
I see that, this is Madam Chair. I see Michelle Bosch had a question. Would you like to ask that question now?
Hi there, this is Michelle Bosch. No, I just wanted to give everybody a comment in regards to the approval of the refunding for the bonds. And I want to congratulate you for doing that. We're hoping that we're going to create that service savings near $10 million. And we do have a strict regimen that we go through to decide what gets refunded. And we really think this is the best time to do this refunding, not only for the current debt service that we have that's due, but also to streamline a lot of the documents that we have in place now. So, thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for those comments. I guess we were a little late getting to your question, but thank you for those comments. Any questions for Mary?
Hey, Mary, this is Kim Adkins. I have a question. How has the recent weather with the substantial amount of rain that we've received, how has that, if it did, impact the timing? How are we doing on timing of the project?
Thank you, Kim. I think the good news is that given the phase of construction, we were kind of shut down for a few days, but our schedule, and as part of the original schedule, there were some rain days built into that. But right now we're tracking against the schedule. I think if we had been in a different phase of construction, such as trying to excavate the bowl or do earthwork, it would have been more difficult. But we're still tracking to the May 2022 for substantial completion. Thank you.
And how are we doing on safety of workers on the site?
Well, we're doing fantastic, and I think I would like to let somebody from Mortensen Messer answer that question. I think it's something to be very, very proud of. The site is clean, and we think that's really also helped contribute to the safety. But if either, I guess, Kellen from ICON or somebody from Mortensen, please respond to Kim with the statistics. They're great.
Yeah, and before they do that, I'd just like to say, I mean, the photos look just impeccable and clean, and it made me think of that question. So just I commend everyone, and certainly it's important to keep our folks safe out there and stay on time. So thank you.
Yes, sure, Mary, thanks. This is Kellen DeCourcy with CA ICON, and I'll take that. So we've worked 9 months now on the project. I think we're over 200,000 man hours on the job, and we have not had one recordable incident as of yet. I think one of the testaments to that is I think for many people who come to the site, they'll always say this is the cleanest site they've ever been to. So I know the Mortensen Messer team has placed a huge emphasis on keeping a clean job site, which I think you can see through the photos. So we hope to continue that success and that streak. Thank you.
Okay, we'll turn it over to.
Any other questions?
And then I think either Carol or Shanae for the DBE update.
Okay, great. So we're going to hear from Carol Greenlee with Mortensen Messer, who will give the monthly DBE participation report for the stadium. And we're going to ask her to be followed up by our project manager, who will give a brief infrastructure update. Carol?
Yes, good morning. This is Carol Greenlee. And just a reminder, our requirement on this project is 30% SMWBE. On the sign, the slide in front of you, we are at over $71 million in SBE participation awarded value. We have about 56 firms currently on the project, SMWBEs. Of those, you see the breakdown that 24 are Davidson County, and the others are Tennessee. The participation thus far, we represent a percentage of DBE participation on the subcontractors award is 37%. I'd like to just pause here and give you a further explanation of 37%. Those are, that 37% represents original awards. As we move forward through the process, through the project, change orders will affect that 37%. So from this point on, rather than reporting on the original awards, we'll be reporting on those changes as commented earlier about reporting on what changes had occurred. Right now, we're at 36% actual participation, that's real time, as of the end of March. Our participation of a DBE, as you can see to the right of the screen at the bottom of the pie chart, represent those percentages based on SMWBE participation. As far as our workforce is concerned, we are currently, as we reported last month, this is a volunteer goal, and it is self-imposed. The Mortensen Messer JV decided that this was a good goal for them to put on themselves. We have a goal on the minorities and women. Actual on the project based on work hours is at 37%. That goal was at 22%. So we are well above our goal. Last month, we also talked about the community impact on that this project was having on our community. But currently, I want to introduce you to or present to you one of our MBE contractors, which is Michael Carter, who is a local contractor with Pinnacle. He is one of the principal owners of Pinnacle, and is also part of the Mortensen Messer JV. And right now, I would like for you to hear Michael talk about his experience on this project and what it has meant for a local contractor to be on such a large project. Michael, turn it over to you.
Carol, thank you. I hope everyone can hear me. Can you not? Hello?
Yes, we do hear you. Good morning, Michael.
Okay. Good morning. Good morning, Chairperson Bender. Let me share with you, and again, I thank for this opportunity to come before the board Our company, Pinnacle, has been around since 2007. And the time that we've been in business, I've not experienced or witnessed a commercial contract project like this that has really had economic impact on Black and brown and women businesses, and equally has really, in fact, had a material impact on our national base workforce. From my standpoint, this is a matter of intentionality. When Metro government, starting with Mayor Berry and then Mayor Cooper, now and Mayor Briley, along with a number of other folks, and particularly when you talk about from a visionary standpoint, the leadership of John Ingram as well as Mary Cavara. From an intentionality standpoint, again, a number of people that played a major role in this project coming into existence. And when you talk about, again, where we are now, Carol's already shared with you again, at least from a outreach standpoint in terms of working with women and minority businesses as well as the workforce, there's no other project that I'm aware of that in fact has had the historical impact that this project has had. When you talk about a $70 million commitment that the Mortensen Messer team made to women and minority businesses, that's material, and that's really significant. And the fact that, again, although it was not a specific, again, contractual pledge of, again, having a workforce development on the project of 20%, the fact that currently we're trending at 36%, again, I think that there's something to be said about, again, how significant and how important that is. Again, my comments are going to be brief. And lastly, I'll share with you that one of the other unique and characteristical difference in this project is when you look at, again, the skills and the relationships that, in fact, have come from this project, it's really been, again, significant, and it's been, again, vitally, again, important for a lot of folks that are working on this project. This is about resume building for folks that, in fact, again, have maybe never had a soccer experience project that they, in fact, have, again, been involved in. So, again, they can take this experience, be it the fact that we're talking about the workforce or businesses who, in fact, again, will now have opportunity to maybe work with other commercial projects, developing, again, soccer stadium projects. And when you look at our company, which, again, has been around since 2007, it's really been, again, important with our involvement with this project. We are really direct beneficiaries financially in terms of this project, in terms of the work that we're performing. But let me share with you what's really, really significant. And I go back to this issue of intentionality. When you talk about, again, leadership stepping up and being visionaries and saying, we want to look at making a difference, and not just talking about a $100,000 contract, but through the leadership of Mary Cavara and John Ingram, the soccer SC group. Historically, this has never happened before. You've got now two minority firms, Pinnacle and Moody Nolan, who are going to be building the practice facility for the team. That's a big deal. And so, again, we're, of course, pleased. We're happy. We're elated to, in fact, be in a position to have developed relationships with, you know, someone like a John Ingram and Mary Cavara. And it would have happened if, in fact, we hadn't partnered with Mortensen Messer to be part of this particular project. So, I could go on and on and on, and I won't do that. I just won't, because, again, I know that you've been meeting since this morning. But this project is really a special project, and I think all Nashvillians should be extremely pleased and happy in terms of the progress. On time, on budget, and it's just going to be a great jewel for Nashville. I'm here now, in fact, at the stadium because we have an event day. So I'm going to stop talking, and I wish the rest of you, a wonderful day. And I'll entertain any questions if you have for me. But if not, I'm going to go join the rest of my team for the event day. Any questions from the board that I could answer now? Madam Chair, I'll turn it back over to you. In fact, I'll turn it over to Carol.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Carter. We certainly appreciate your taking the time to share your personal experience with the project, because I think anyone that's been on these calls understands how very important DBE is to this body. So you're going to appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right, we'll turn it back over to Carol.
Yes, thank you very much. That ends our report for our DBE participation on the project. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much. We appreciate that. Any questions or comments for Mary or Carol? Not, we'll move into the project managers. Give us an update. Okay, Kellen?
I think this was to the infrastructure update, is that right?
Yes.
I think Ron or Jim might be able to share more on that.
This is Ron Gobble, and I think Jim's available. And I want to remind everybody there are two separate projects out there. Both are under the Sports Authority's domain. One is the MLS project, and the other one is the infrastructure project. And I think Jim did an excellent job of covering a lot of the issues related to the infrastructure project in the discussions about Kimley Horn's contract. The only thing I can add to that is that we're still in the permitting phase with the state has a public input period available. That closes out this week, and we're hoping that'll move forward quickly. In the meantime, the construction manager has got his job trailer set. He's doing some additional layout work. We have a kickoff meeting with Metro Water and Sewer this week, and then we're moving along quite nicely. As Jim pointed out earlier, they are in the process of bidding out all the subs that will be required. This is an infrastructure project. It is roads, water, sewer, and associated landscaping. So it is a little bit different than a general construction project. We do have 4 separate contractors on the site. We've got the contractor for infrastructure, the contractor for the mixed use, and we have the contractor for, 3 separate contractors, and the contractor team, which is several, for the stadium. And they are coordinating with all of these events and trying to make sure the infrastructure project snakes around and touches all of them. So we've spent a great deal of time working to make sure that this project not only supports the stadium, but also supports the other activities on campus. And also to remind everybody that during COVID, the Expo Center has been turned into a shelter. That's going to expire this summer, and then they're going to be back to doing events out there. In fact, they have a race this weekend. So those have to be coordinated as well. So that's the short version of it. Jim, I don't know, did I get everything?
Yeah, pretty much, just a little more specifics. About 40% of the packages have bid, and those are in review right now. And everything's going in accordance with the contract terms as far as the participation on those. Actually, they're a little ahead of contract terms on the first packages.
So are there any questions on the infrastructure project?
Are there any questions for Mary or Carol or Jim or Ron? Anything around this project? If not, we thank you for that report and that update. And now we'll move into the Bridgestone Arena report. So we're going to invite the Predators and Powers management team to give us that report.
Thank you, Chair Bender, for having us and the entire Sports Authority. My name is David Kells. I'm the Executive Vice President of Events and Venues for Bridgestone Arena and the Nashville Predators. First off, I want to say it's a great time in Smashville right now because everything's coming together at the right time. After a slow start, the Preds have won 13 of their last 16 and are in the thick of the playoff hunt. Secondly, we were thrilled to see Mayor Cooper's announcement last night that we'll be able to increase venue capacity to around 33% for upcoming games. We've taken a very cautious approach when we started the season, a couple hundred fans at a time, slowly adding to that. And it's been wonderful to work with Hugh Atkins, everybody at Metro Health, our Return to Events team, and all of our fans for creating that and keeping Bridgestone Arena a safe environment for our events. And because of that work, because our fans continue to wear masks inside the arena, we're able to progress and show that we can conduct a safe environment for all types of events. A lot of my job over the last 12 months has been rescheduling all the things that we already had on deck. So things moved from 2020 to almost a full 12 months. And now it's wonderful that my job is transitioning into scheduling new events. People are feeling very confident about late summer and early fall. So we have some new on sales that are on the pipeline for that we hope to make announcements here soon. But in the near term, we had some people who were able to make the economics work for limited capacity shows. So later this month, we have our first non-sporting event in 13 months with Mike Epps. He's been doing 2 shows on April 24th. The first one is all but sold out, the 7 o'clock show, but there's tickets available for the 11 o'clock show. And then in June, we're going to be bringing World's Toughest Rodeo here, again, for 2 performances in one day. So that's a lot of excitement coming to Lower Broadway. And as I mentioned, some other things will be going up on sale. We just announced and put on sale the 2022 U.S. Figure Skating Championships. They went on sale with full event strips. So if you are a super fan and want to come, to the Wednesday all the way through Sunday, your opportunity to buy those tickets starts this week. So it's a very, very exciting thing just to be looking to the future, to see that hope on the horizon, to see that we're planning to do events again at that full capacity. Realizing that this week we just made that next step to 33% from the mid-20s that we've been operating on. So a lot of hope on the horizon. As I started off with, everything seems to be gelling really, really at the right time. And we're happy to make some other announcements with you guys here today. But before I pass it along, does anybody have any questions for me? All right, hearing nothing. As I said, we strive to have programming for all parts of our community, but to truly make sure that Smashville has something for everyone. Robin Lee is here to talk about our Guider initiatives.
Thank you, David. My name is Robin Lee. I am the Senior Director of Sponsorship Service for the Nashville Predators. And as mentioned, wanted to talk a little bit about our Smashville Guider Board. So in the summer of 2020, the Nashville Predators created our Smashville Guider Board, with our goal being to bring social awareness to underrepresented groups. Essentially, we want our organization, our employees, our programs, our fan base to look like the community that we serve. And that's not always been the case with the National Hockey League. And so we formed our Smashville Guider Board. Guider is an acronym that highlights everything that we aim to represent. The G is for growth, the U is for understanding, the I is for inclusion, the D is for diversity, the E is for equality, and the R is for representation. Our goal with this program is to use the full reach of our resources, our relationships, to affect change in the areas that we can control. We know that as much as we think we control the world and we would like to control the world, we know that we can control 4 areas of our business. And that is our front office, our fan base, our efforts in our community, and then ultimately our initiatives that we're doing at the NHL level. We are only 6 months into building this platform, and the response from our employees and our community partners has been amazing. Everyone that we have engaged to join us in our various initiatives have been excited, have said, right away, we want to be a part of this. We formed our Guider Advisory Board, which is comprised of 12 leaders from different areas of the community, from other organizations that have joined us, have advised us, have participated with us. And a great example of that is our partnership with Bridgestone Americas. Bridgestone funded our first youth hockey diversity program by providing a $100,000 grant that will allow youth from various backgrounds to participate in a year's worth of hockey program. I will pause for questions, but then I will turn it over to Danny Butler to discuss in more detail our youth hockey program and then some of the additional diversity efforts that we're taking on a youth level. So I will pause for questions. All right, well, thank you so much. I'll turn it over to Danny Butler to touch on the programs.
Thanks, Robin. Danny Butler, Vice President and General Manager for the Ice Center. Thanks for having us today. And Robin, really nice job. It really is exciting. You know, what Robin and the Guider Group and everybody in our organization who's helped start this program has been awesome. But the biggest thing that we wanted to do was make sure that we weren't just a name and just having meetings. We wanted to actually have action behind it. And pretty quickly, we were able to announce, like Robin said, that we have the core program, and then on top of it, this grades and plays program. So, J-Bo, jump in whenever, but the core program is going to be really exciting. We're creating this hockey program for kids who have never played hockey, who probably don't have the means to play hockey, and the kids who probably have never thought about playing hockey. So really, it's an absolutely free program. Kids will join the Learn to Skate program. We'll go to Learn to Play, and then they'll be put into our youth hockey leagues. With that, they get a full set of equipment. They have all high-level coaching, and we'll have the opportunity to play hockey in our market, which really is exciting. And it's really exciting that Bridgestone saw what we were doing and put some money behind it to benefit the community. The really cool part, though, is it plays along really nicely with what we're doing for girls hockey, too. So, Jen, I'll let you go ahead and kind of take it from here on girls hockey. But really fun programs that we have coming out of these guidance.
Jennifer Bernanke, manager of amateur hockey and fan development for the Nashville Predators and the Ford Ice Centers. So like Danny mentioned, through the Industry Growth Fund, the Preds Girls Hockey Program allows girls ages 4 to 17 the opportunity to play hockey at no cost to them. Not only does this offer free programming, but also a community for these young athletes to grow and play together, led by women to look up to, such as our female ambassador and former Canadian national team member, Delaney Collins. So the Preds Girls Hockey Program is broken into 4 distinct phases. This spring, we launched phase 1 with the Preds Girls Development Program. This is a 12-week program focusing on the fundamentals of skating and hockey for our newest players in the community. Players have spent the first 4 weeks learning with our Learn to Skate coaches and are now fully immersed into our hockey curriculum. Each player has received a full set of equipment head to toe to keep. And then in this first spring session, we have 75 participants across 2 age groups. So we have a group for ages 4 to 10 and then 11 to 17. So something for everyone on that ice. And then our future phases start this summer with the launch of our Girls Hockey 3-on-3 League. This league introduces gameplay and team concepts to our new and also existing players at the Ford Ice Centers. This program will also be at no cost to participants. Starting in the fall, both the development and 3-on-3 programs will run together and consistently going forward. So there's always a step for these girls. Our last phase will introduce girls hockey tournaments to the Ford Ice Centers. Starting this November of 21, we will bring 4 NCAA women's hockey teams to the Ford Ice Center Bellevue to play alongside the Smashville Girls Hockey Showcase, which is our youth tournament component of that weekend. And then we will also continue to support and host girls and women's tournaments well into 2022 and beyond, with a free girls tournament also provided through the IGF as well. So with that, does anyone have any questions regarding our DEI programs for diversity or girls for Danny and myself?
This is Margaret Bam, and is it Bernanke? Is that your name is Bernanke, Jennifer?
Bernanke, but it's super Polish, so close.
Bernanke, no, okay. Well, this initiative is fantastic on the Preds Girls Hockey. Just a couple of questions. So the core initiative, is that targeted to boys? And then there's the Breads girls hockey that you showed be more targeted to girls. Is that how that works?
No, core is for everybody.
Good.
So yeah, anybody can be a part.
So I just wanted to make sure that's a great program too. And this initiative, I just want to invite you to our Women's Ad Hoc Committee meeting, Ms. Bernanke, I hope I did that right, which we hope to be in May. So Monica, if you would make sure that she's there, because I would love to discuss this in conjunction with some ideas about celebrating this year the 50th anniversary of the passage of Title IX, which was in June 2022, and the events and what you're doing here, I think is fantastic, and reaching out to girls in particular. And I don't think these slides about the whole guide effort was in what was sent to us. Was it, Monica? I'm looking at the Preds. But yeah, whether or not it was, if you could send it out to us, the slides that you all have just presented, I would love to have a copy of them. Thank you so much for all these efforts. It's very impressive.
Yeah, we'll absolutely get those slides over.
I'll reach out to Jennifer. Thank you so much.
All right. And then if there's no more questions, I will pass it off to Courtney Mosley.
All right. Hey, everyone. As Jennifer said, my name is Courtney Mosley. I am the Vice President of Human Resources for the Predators and Bridgestone Arena. As others have said, I want to thank you guys for inviting us out this morning. Excited and very proud to talk to you and give you a brief overview of what we're doing internally from a DEI perspective to bring interest and awareness to all of our employees. So just a couple of bullets here, just in the interest of being brief, and I've kind of given myself a pep talk about it because I'm not always brief. So first is that we are committed to the training and education of all of our employees with an emphasis on DEI. So along with that, some efforts that we've made, we have implemented just within this past year a training requirement for staff that is DEI related. So that requirement is that every employee get 10 hours of DEI related training. We encourage them to go out and source their own training and education materials, just so that the training and the education they receive is as meaningful as possible. However, we also recognize that some aren't as comfortable as doing that, and so we give them monthly via newsletters, via emails, and various communications, several resources that they can check out regarding DEI, whether it be podcasts, books, movies, even books that they could read to their children to start the education at that level. So this training component is tied directly to an employee's performance. So it's one of their performance goals, and it's something that we'll track and measure throughout the year. So the 10-hour requirement will refresh every year, but and it may be something that we grow and expand upon in future years. So related to the training and education, another important component of a diverse workplace is respect, and fostering an environment where everyone's welcome, all ideas are encouraged, and all are included. To that note, we have a respectful workplace policy. It's something that is strictly enforced at all levels. No tolerance whatsoever for any behavior that's disrespectful, inappropriate, or any actions or behaviors that are discriminatory in any manner. So, we make sure that all of our staff are trained on these policies. We hold an annual respectful workplace training. It's mandatory for all employees. Take attendance and record that in our employee files, just to ensure that everyone has gone through that training. But then we also make sure that our staff are equipped with the knowledge of where they can report, concerns or violations, certainly, of any of these policies. So, and we make sure that there are multiple ways that staff have to report. They can go to their manager, they can come to human resources, and there are multiple confidential ways of reporting, and so we make sure that everyone's equipped with that knowledge. So lastly, and these last two bullets here are intertwined, so I'm going to hit them both together. We have been really focusing on building a pipeline for diverse talent. It's something that we looked at our organization and saw where we had areas of opportunity for diversity that really either didn't exist or that were lacking. One opportunity that we identified just right off the bat was in our intern program. So we have a great intern program. We host interns from all over the U.S. And a lot of those happen to be from right here at one of the colleges or universities in our backyard. But we host interns every semester. And it's an educational program that also offers the students a unique experience with a hands-on component, shadowing, cross-training in various areas of our business. So it's a program we're really proud of, but something that we identified that was missing was, we had students that participated from Belmont, from Vanderbilt, from MTSU, Austin Peay, University of Tennessee, but TSU students were missing. So we identified that as an area of opportunity, and through our partnership with TSU, we've worked with them. We've done job fairs on their campus. We have participated in various student panels and workshops over the past year. We hosted a series of workshops this summer. Our HR department did, and hosted a series of 4 different workshops throughout the summer to educate them on, building their resume, prepping for interviews, what to look for in their social media accounts, things of that nature. The partnership has been something that's really, really been beneficial on both sides of the relationship. And we went from having no TSU students in our programs to having upwards of 12 students just over the past year. So still have a ways to go, but something that we're really proud of, and look forward to continuing that relationship with them. And another thing that we realized is that our job postings weren't always reaching a diverse audience. And our relationship with TSU helped us identify that. So whereas we used to post our job openings only on Teamwork Online, which is familiar to those in the sports and entertainment industry, it wasn't something that many TSU students, for example, were familiar with. So we are now also using a platform they're familiar with, which is known as Handshake, and we post all of our positions out there as well. So again, thanks to TSU for helping us point out an area where we could improve and reach a broader audience. So lastly, is our just commitment to growth, because it doesn't, our efforts don't stop once a person is hired. It runs along a continuum. And again, we're an organization that prides ourselves on growing employees, promoting from within wherever it's possible. That's why it was important for us to diversify our intern pool, because the first place we look to when we're getting ready to fill a full-time position is to our either current or previous interns. We we grow starting from, our interns to, we grow our part-time employees. We want to grow our full-time, entry-level coordinators and associates up to managers and directors and thereon. So, we have a commitment to, again, going back to training and educating our employees. And I talked about some of the forms that takes on, but then also, putting them through management training, identifying opportunities to send them to workshops and seminars to get that continuing education that they need to move them forward in their career. Hopefully it's with us, but we stop at being selfish as to keep our talented folks from achieving the next step, even if it means it's outside of our organization. So something that we're really proud of there. Again, we always look to our internal talent and seeing how we can grow them, how we can like I said, move them forward. So the last thing I'll leave you with is we are in the process of, as you heard from David Kells early on in the presentation, we have more events on the horizon. We're opening our building to more fans. It's all very exciting. One thing that comes along with that is a need for us to ramp up in our sales department. So we're in the process of hiring, I believe it's 6 individuals in our ticket sales area. And we have a commitment to seeing at least 50% of those be diverse employees. Proud to report that as of this morning, we have made 2 offers to diverse candidates, and again, we hope to at least add a 3rd before the day is over. So just thanks for letting me have a few minutes to talk to you about some of these important initiatives. We have some work to do still, but we're proud of where we are right now and how far we've come. And thank you guys again for listening this morning. Pause briefly for any questions before turning it over to Sean to wrap us up.
All right, let's go with your questions. Come on, it's been an hour and a half.
Well, thanks, Courtney. This is Sean Henry, CEO of the Nashville Predators. Just want to thank the board. I know it's been a really long meeting, probably longer than most of us expected from a schedule standpoint. So thanks for letting us go through our presentation. Believe it or not, I really will be brief. So I can't see you rolling your eyes right now because I've never done this before. So it's a new skill. So I'll try to be brief. Really just want to echo something David Kell said at the very beginning of this. There's a lot of reasons to be optimistic in Smashville right now, and the least of which is how well the team's playing. It's good to be optimistic about vaccine counts and loads and where we're going. And with the mayor's announcement last night, we continue to become a little bit more open and doing so safely. So I just want to say thank you, as David did, to our friends at Metro Health and the mayor's office and all of you for pushing us through the past 12, 13 months to where we're sitting right now, which is a much better place than I think any of us thought we would be from a month ago. And just want to say thank you for that. As David said, we have a lot of events coming online. We're planning for a normal fiscal 22, which starts July 1st for us. But as I think you heard, or I hope you heard, and what you take away from this, the past 13 months, we've really focused on growing who we are as an organization by working with different facets of the community. We're really proud of what we created over the past 22 years, but I think the next 22 years, we're going to do even better things as we look internally to our organization of how to be different, how to be bigger, how to be better, and how to be more inclusive. And when we do all those things, the most important letter in Guider is that first one, G. It's going to let us grow, and on many, many fronts. So if you have any questions about what we're doing, Margaret, I loved your question about wanting to know more about Guider. If you guys want to get more involved, please reach out to us because it's going to allow us to take this great game, all the activity we do in Bridgestone Arena, and impact even more people than we do right now. So again, I just want to say thank you to all of you. I can't wait till we're in person, so it's a little bit easier for all of us to communicate. And frankly, we'll have a chance to meet some of the newer board members that we haven't had a chance to in person. So again, thank you for all you've done over the past 13 months since we woke up to the morning of the tornadoes to where we sit today. But I think we're all smiling a little bit more, knowing that we're getting a little bit more open and those vaccination counts continue to soar. So again, thank you all. If you have any questions about anything we're doing, you can ask now or always feel free to reach out to any one of us.
Thank you, Sean, for those comments. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Kathy.
Does that conclude the report?
That is it. They brought me in as the closer, I guess, because they thought I would talk too much, Madam Chairman. So that's it.
You were
for us.
short and sweet, Sean. You were short and sweet. That's great.
I am short and sweet on so many levels.
So, well, thank you. Thank you all. I applaud the Predators and Powers Management for this report. And I really applaud the fact that you all have taken a period of unsettlement and you are seeking ways to be your best selves. And I love your initiatives. I love the Smashville Guider initiative. Obviously, Margaret and I are going to be huge supporters of the girls' hockey and Kim for sure. So that's very exciting. And then the DEI effort. So you've shared a lot with us today. I'm very excited about the initiatives, about the diversity and inclusion. And it is important that our partners begin to reflect the community in which we live. So thank you all for all the work you're doing. With that, I will open up for any questions or comments to the Predators. I think Director Atkins has a question.
I just wanted to note, thank you, Kathy, that it's really exciting to see that U.S. Figure Skating will be hosting the championship in January. I think I saw a note today about tickets becoming available out at Ford Ice Center. And I have had the privilege of being out at Bellevue recently and just want to commend the efforts of how safe and how much fun it is to be out there. So I agree. I look forward to seeing everyone and I'm very excited for a safe return to seeing everyone in person. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Atkins. Any other questions or comments? If not for the Predators, any facility questions? Any of our facilities? Well, if there are no questions, then this concludes our agenda. So I'd like to thank the members of the board, Sports Authority staff, Metro Legal and Finance, our facility team, representatives, and project managers for your input today. Our next meeting is scheduled for Thursday, May 20th, and we do believe the meeting will be in person since the governor's executive order that allows us to meet virtually is scheduled to expire at the end of April. Staff will communicate the plan for May as soon as they're able. So if there's no other business, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you. Meeting adjourned. Thank each of you for your time and thank you for staying with us this morning. It was a little lengthy, but very worthwhile. Thank you and have a great day.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information about this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.